Hi, I'm Hazel. It is almost Saturday, so it's time for a new vlog. This week, after another week of raiding in Heroic Nighthold, we are now 6 of 10 instead of 5 of 10. We only got one more new boss done this week. We killed Heroic Star Augur, which was tougher than I thought it would be. And I think the reason that we only killed one new boss is because re-clearing, also tougher than we thought it would be. For whatever reason, it felt like progression all over again. So hopefully next week goes smoother, and we can get closer to Heroic Gul'dan. I'm not in a huge hurry, but it is nice to be making progress. I got my 4-piece, and I got a new legendary this week, finally. I've been waiting for my 3rd legendary for a while. And it dropped. It's not the one I wanted. I wanted either like the belt or the shoulders or the fingers for Shadow Priests, but I got the trinket. Kil'jaeden's whatever the hell. And it turns out Kil'jaeden's whatever the hell does pretty good damage because I'm doing quite a bit more than I used to. Anything is better than that helmet I had before. I had the Vampiric Embrace buff helmet. It's awful. So I'm really happy with my new legendary. I hope I eventually get the ones I really want, but until that day comes, these ones will do just fine, and it's really fun playing with both 4-piece and a new legendary because I feel like the buttons that I press actually matter a little bit more. Plus, with the Shadow Priest 4-piece, what it does is, when you go into Void form, for 4 seconds, you can just mash Void Bolt with no cooldown. I need to rebind that because I need to put it on a better button. Right now it's under my ring finger, so I'm trying to like spam. Oh man, I've got a cramp actually. I'm not ready to be doing that again so soon. But yeah, you get to just like mash your Void Bolt button and spit out a whole bunch of them and then go into your rotation. I gotta find a new button for that. Maybe I'll put it on my mouse. I think my thumb would probably be better equipped for that kind of mashing, or like my index finger, or like maybe like a foot pedal. I get like a foot pedal and then I bind it to Void Bolt and then I go into Void form and I just start tap dancing, and all of those years of dance classes finally come in handy. That'd be good. What else has been new? Not a whole lot going on in the PTR. They keep slowly adding new things. Supposedly the class campaigns are ready to be tested. I don't know how much of that I'm going to do. I'm not terribly interested in the class campaigns when they actually go out in live. For whatever reason, questing content, like single-player questing content, like the Suramar stuff and the Cloud Order Hall campaigns, have just not been fun for me lately. And it's nothing to do with the quests. The quests themselves are great. They've got cool story, they've got voice acting, they're well-designed, they're great quests, but for whatever reason, I just can't stomach sitting down and just questing for the hell of it anymore. I don't know what changed. It's not WoW, it's me. But I've been procrastinating on everything involving that. It's the reason I didn't do Suramar until forever. I'm probably never gonna get that Arcanist Mana Saber because I just can't do the rest of the Suramar stuff. And maybe one day I'll wake up and realize that I'm actually really curious to find out what happens in that story. But for the current moment, I can't do it. I don't know why. Another thing that's new in the PTR, people have been data mining a bunch of new PvP tabards that we don't know exactly how they're going to be rewarded yet, but they have the word gladiator in them, so hopefully they're PvP based and not just for gladiators, because those super cool people already have mounts. But I think it's really cool that they're adding new PvP rewards. I hope that, it seems like there's enough of them. It's either going to be like a new one for each season for like, say, I don't know, some mana rating, or maybe there'll be a couple of different ones based on getting to different rating thresholds. It'll be nice to flesh out kind of the bottom tiers of rating with rewards, because right now if you're just casually PvPing, there's not a whole lot of incentive for you. Personally, I'm actually kind of allergic to tabards. I've tried wearing tabards before, but it never lasted longer than about 45 seconds before I went, this is dumb, I want to see my armor again. So I'm personally not a tabard person. I'm not going to wear them even if I get them, but I do think it's really great that they're actually taking a look at the PvP reward structure, which means they know that there's something they need to do, and they are doing their best. A me thing that happened this week is I started back up on Twitch. I made a quick video about that, but basically the gist of it is that it's not going to be a scheduled thing, it's not going to interfere with anything else, but if I have some time to queue Arena and like I can't find anybody to play with, or I just want some company while I'm like sitting in Group Finder looking for anybody, I'm going to turn on the stream so I can like chat with you guys while I do that. So it's going to be just a PvP thing, just on Twitch, no particular times, but you're welcome to follow me on Twitch if you're interested in that, and that's twitch.tv/hazelnutty8. And the real goal that I have behind streaming Arena on Twitch is probably finding people to play with again, because right now I'm having such a hard time finding a good team, and I just, all my best partners that I ever made, I think, through Twitch. So anybody that drops by the stream, if you play DPS on North American servers, you have a similar rating and experience to me. I'm approximately 2.2, 2.4 experience, and like 18 to 1900 CR. If you're in that range and you would like to play with me, show up to the stream and let me know. And hopefully I can find some teams, because I would really like to get some practice in. I'm not great right now, but I'm not the worst. And it can only get better with practice, right? Another just quick note is that my internet just today has been super spotty. It decides it wants to work and then it decides it doesn't want to work. I'm hoping that Frontier gets that cleared up and then hopefully it gets stabilized by the afternoon so that I can do the YouTube stream this afternoon. I'd really like to actually do that, and I'm gonna need some internet in order to stream, so hopefully that clears up. It's down right now, but I can record without having it up. So fingers crossed that my internet gets its stuff together and I can stream. If not, I will tweet to let you guys know what's up with that. But internet permitting, I'm going to be doing, I think, Pet Battle PvP. I'd like to make that a semi-regular thing on the Friday streams because that's the only way I'm ever going to get my stunted direhorn pet. And Pet Battle PvP is actually fun when I have people to chat with while I'm doing it. Because the one real flaw with Pet PvP is there's a lot of downtime. There are fairly long queue times. The loading screens don't help, and then of course you're waiting, because it's turn-based, you're waiting for your opponent to make their turn, and I don't think the timers are too long, but the whole thing just kind of takes some time to get through, and then of course you don't always win, and sometimes the games can be quite long because people run comps that are very tanky, and anyways, it's nice having people to hang out with while I work on that, so probably Pet PvP on the stream this afternoon, assuming that my internet actually comes up for that. Questions for this week. Prometheus587 wants to know, what server do you play on? I play on Lightbringer Alliance and Thrall for Horde. People ask me this all the time, and I don't really know why, just because server has never really meant less. You can do pretty much whatever with pretty much anybody from pretty much any server. The only thing that's really server specific anymore is like the auction house. And is Mythic Rating still server specific, or did they open that up? I don't really remember. Anyways, Alliance, Lightbringer, Thrall, Horde. Occasionally I play characters in different realms, doesn't really matter. But I have now that I've got Twitch back up and running, even if you never watch a Twitch stream, my Twitch page has links to my main armory, so you can armory creep on whatever you want to see. There, it's got armory links. It also has my complete PC specs and peripheral specs. I put that up there, so if you're ever like, man, I wonder what mic stand Hazel uses, you can go to my Twitch page, and then you can see which stand it is, as well as like my microphone, keyboard, mouse, all of my PC components. All of that is up in a list there, as well as like an FAQ and some other stuff like that. So all of that can be found on twitch.tv/hazel98. Yeah. Okay, so Jack Skellington wants to know, could you tell me about your tattoo on your right arm? I like it. Also, how much did it cost? I want to get a sleeve tattoo someday when I can afford it. So, first of all, I'm probably not going to talk about the exact price of it, just because it's kind of like talking about how much you paid to have a piece of art commissioned. It's going to be like there's no frame of reference there. It completely depends on what you want, who your artist is, how much time it's going to take, and for the most part, the best way to go about finding out whether you can afford it is to find the artist that you want. Talk to them about the piece that you want to get, and then they'll quote you for it, and then you can make a decision at that point. As far as actually telling you about it, let's see here. It's here. So it's a cherry blossom tree. It starts up here, it goes all the way down here, kind of wraps around. I got this a couple years ago, and yeah, there's not really a whole deep story. I don't have like a second personality that was a tree in a former life. I like trees. I thought it was pretty. I wanted a tattoo. I saved up some money and I got a tattoo, and I'd like to do that again on my other arm. It doesn't have any super crazy deep meaning. I just like trees. Patrick says, hey Hazel, have you ever really wanted to play a spec but can't seem to get it to work? I'm pretty sure I've memorized everything there is to know about Disc Priest, but I can't seem to get it to work right. Any tips on how to stay motivated? Okay. So I kind of get the feeling, not so much, I've never experienced that in PvE, but in PvP for sure, I have this feeling that I have learned everything that I could possibly know. Not so much this expansion, but definitely last expansion. I felt like I knew all of the stuff, but despite knowing all of the stuff, I couldn't quite execute it properly. And the thing that really helped me, and I've talked about this before, and this does work for PvE and raiding as well as PvP, is recording your gameplay. Not necessarily to share with anybody, but just record it for yourself, and then when you watch yourself play, you'll see yourself doing so many things you don't catch when you're actually playing, and then you can kind of pick out the thing that you really need to work on. So that's my best advice for trying to work through that roadblock. I've definitely been there before. It's not easy, but you can do it if you keep at it. And then tips on how to stay motivated, you just kind of got to think about where you want to be. And that's not just for WoW, that's for anything. You got to kind of think about what you want, like think about the person you want to be, and then imagine that person wakes up in your body, and then what would they do? Like what steps does that person take to make that dream happen? It's kind of a roundabout way of doing it, but that's always what I've done. I always like to imagine myself as, hey, what if I was that person that was really good at that thing, and then what if that person took control of my life? What would they do? Sort of. It works for me. Possible Addiction asks, hey Hazel, do you think that healing or DPSing is objectively harder in Arena? So that's a really tough question, and I'm going to give you kind of a non-answer, but I'm going to try and explain it in a way that makes sense. So in an Arena team, typically, and this may not always be the case, but what I've found, is that there is one player of the three that is, for the most part, shot calling. Sometimes you'll have a separate offensive and defensive shot caller. Sometimes it'll be all the same person. But while everybody's responsible for, their damage or their healing or their positioning or whatever, you have one person that's making calls such as coordinating defensive cooldowns so you don't overlap them. They're coordinating your offensive cooldowns. They're planning out the plays and talking to their teammates to try and execute them. And that person, that player, can be a healer or it can be a DPS. Sometimes it's a healer, and sometimes it's a damage player. And I think that job, that arena leader job, where you are not only playing your own character but coordinating the plays of your entire team, that's the hardest. I think often that becomes the healer, especially with regards to defensive cooldowns. You're not only worrying about keeping yourself and your teammates alive, you're also worrying about doing so while not overlapping cooldowns. And if you are also then in charge of looking for plays and looking for strategies, then that becomes harder, but that role does not always fall on the healer. It very much varies from team to team. If you take all that out of it and you just think, is healing or DPSing harder? I couldn't tell you because I don't spend that much time DPSing. From my perspective as a healer, of course it looks like my job's harder because I have to do it. As a DPS, if you make a small mistake in your damage rotation, you're not going to do as much damage. Maybe you don't get a kill. It could lose you the game, but it's not as apparently obvious as when a healer makes a small mistake and they're dead, and you've definitely lost the game. So I'd say mistakes can look more dramatic on healers. Of course, DPS can also make mistakes that get people killed. It's really hard to say. I'm inclined to say the healing's harder, but I do think that the overall leading role is harder, and of course, I am massively biased because I only arena heal, and I don't think I definitely have never seriously DPS'd in arena. I've tried. It's hilarious. It doesn't work very well. That has been my week. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions you would like answered on a vlog, just leave them as comments on the most recent vlog. I hope to see some of you in the YouTube stream this afternoon, assuming that my internet comes back up. I have all of my fingers crossed. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.